As outlined by the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, preparing students for success in the 21st century entails the incorporation of interdisciplinary themes into core subjects, including global awareness, financial, economic, business, and entrepreneurial literacy, civic literacy, health literacy, and environmental literacy. One way schools can be organized to teach these 21st century themes is to create a curriculum centered on a school-administered, inclusive, school-wide community garden. By studying global and local food systems, students will grow to understand the health, environmental, and civic impacts of food distribution systems, as well as their role in creating a more environmentally, socially, and economically just food system. Through hands-on kinesthetic learning occurring in the living laboratory of the school garden, students will gain exposure to many aspects of their food system and engage themselves in project-based garden lessons. This interdisciplinary, applied study will present students with garden-centered lessons that ultimately raise awareness of human environmental impact, empower students to perform the duties of citizens and to work collaboratively to solve social problems, reinforce the role of fresh, healthy food and nutrition, as well as physical activity in the maintenance of a healthy lifestyle, and life skills including financial self-sufficiency, frugality, and a civic-minded entrepreneurial spirit. With the project-based learning model of the garden-centered curriculum, students will gain exposure through applied hands-on learning to the aforementioned interdisciplinary themes through an interdisciplinary curriculum that aims for holistic student development. As a result of garden-based learning, students will understand and recognize their relationship to the environment, as well as explore ways to solve key environmental issues, become familiar with the historical importance of civic engagement, not only in supporting a vibrant food economy, but more broadly the role of citizens in maintaining social and economic justice through active involvement in their communities. Gain exposure to life skills supporting self-sufficiency, career readiness, business planning and management, entrepreneurial ingenuity, and socially responsible economic development, and become empowered to pursue healthy lifestyle habits as modeled and explored in depth as part of the garden-based learning, whether in the school garden or outside of the school environment at home. In order to establish a school-wide garden as an effective teaching laboratory, it will be necessary to form a garden committee consisting of members of administration, parents, teachers from multiple disciplines, and students. The size of the committee must be sufficient to encourage active engagement from key stakeholding groups and to provide ample people resources to divide administrative tasks for the garden. School administrators would bring legal expertise and the ability to support the logistical considerations of a garden-centered curriculum. Teachers would develop garden-based curriculum lessons. School staff would provide additional input, and students, with representatives from each grade level, would play a key role in planning and administering the school garden. The garden committee would be responsible for guiding the development of the garden, from planning garden activities and planting schedules, to developing garden-based lessons, to appropriating the resources deemed necessary, to effective delegation of garden duties to key stakeholding groups. The committee would serve as the central governing body for all garden projects, and representation from all stakeholding groups would give all members of the school community input in the garden plan. We envisioned a tiered implementation of the school garden curriculum, where a garden started at the elementary school level would next be implemented at middle and then high schools as the initial cohort of students graduates through the grade levels. It is important that the garden be located in close proximity to the school to ensure that students and teachers may make best use of the outdoor learning environment, and for students to be able to maintain close watch over their garden projects. There must also be ample garden space for each grade level to conduct their own age-appropriate garden projects. With the assistance of the garden committee, teachers and students will use the garden as a living laboratory and highly integrated teaching tool. In addition to the benefits of hands-on, kinesthetic, and experiential learning, students will gain exposure to the aforementioned 21st century interdisciplinary themes. Lessons will incorporate visuals, experiments, high levels of student participation, and seasonally appropriate garden development in order to enhance student understanding of these themes. Some examples of lessons taught through a garden-based curriculum would include geography lessons on food distribution, food deserts, mapping of arable land, exploring the concept of food miles, the distance a piece of produce travels from farm to table, or a history lesson exploring the victory gardens of World Wars I and II and demonstrating the civic duty of gardening, planning ways to improve the local food system through the students' own civic engagement and community service, such as donation of the garden produce to food banks. Or environmental science lessons on geochemical cycles and exploring the impacts of conventional agriculture and sustainable gardening alternatives, agricultural runoff, phytoremediation, cover cropping, and composting. As is evident in these examples, the school garden will become an essential component for teaching a highly interdisciplinary, hands-on curriculum. Reinforcing these lessons will be garden-centered activities, including supplying the school cafeteria and culinary arts program with fresh garden produce, selling garden produce at a farmer's market or roadside stand, and even establishing a school waste composting facility. There are ample projects and phases of garden planning to keep students engaged in a garden curriculum all year, including the summer. Each season will bring necessary garden tasks and provide seasonal opportunities to teach different aspects of the curriculum. As this is an ongoing project and the garden is an essential learning tool for the garden-centered curriculum, it is important to remember that location matters. The garden should be accessible to students in order to keep them engaged in the projects. The garden curriculum would require some garden supplies, possibly funded by grants, in addition to the required plot of land. Community professionals and volunteers such as master gardeners, extension agents, college professors and students, chefs, and farmers market managers would be invited to provide subject-specific expertise and extend the lessons of the curriculum. We define the success of the garden curriculum in terms of student growth, acquiring exposure to interdisciplinary themes in the process of creating and maintaining a successful school garden, which itself is a tangible product of student growth. We also envision the garden itself becoming a self-sustaining project, with the proceeds from any produce sales or other garden-generated revenue supporting future projects back in the garden.